Well, Tom, first of all, how's last week been addressed amongst the playing staff?
Obviously we talked about the game the next day. The gaffer said what he thought, us as players said what we thought, and move on. Got to prepare for the next game, learn from what happened and make sure it doesn't happen again, and really all you can do is respond properly, and that's what we've got to do. Can
you put your finger, after reflection and this chat you've had last weekend, as to why it materialised as it did?
Well, I just don't think we did the basics really. Didn't defend well enough, didn't keep the ball well enough, and didn't attack well enough, and just the basic things that we've got results from. When we have been on a good spell, we stopped doing, and didn't start the game off at a good enough intensity, and put the other team under pressure, and almost invited the pressure, I think, upon ourselves a little bit. But especially at home, we've got to go out and set the tone of the game and the tempo, and we didn't do that, and we got punished. And even when it went down to 10 men, I think back when we played against 10 men this season at Millwall, they didn't lose 5-1. They shut up shop and they managed to hold on to a victory. So I know we were losing at that point, but it's probably not an excuse to go and lose 5-0.
Is it a mentality thing? Yeah, you're ticking along nicely, like going into and out of the Bristol City game, and then it just shuts down for a few matches. You've beaten Leeds United away from home, you've beaten Brighton away from home, and then it just shuts down quite dramatically against Blackburn. Is that a mentality thing?
Well, I think you'd have to ask each player if it's a mental thing, something to do with attitude and things like that, but because I don't see as a professional footballer why you should approach a game differently, but that's only me speaking. But I think when you speak about mentality, I think each player can only answer that, but if you're asking did we approach the game any differently or do anything differently because it was Leeds or because it was Brighton or because it was Blackburn, I'd say no, but clearly something was missing in the way that we started the game and ultimately the intensity that we played at.
It stands to reason that in a room of 20, 25 individuals, not everybody's mentality is always the same. Does that then perhaps become a problem sometimes? If there's the steady away ones that are sort of 6 or 7 out of 10 every week, there's the boom and bust ones as well, isn't there?
Yeah, but I think like you say, every player's individual, but when you go out on the pitch, you're a team, aren't you? And I think you've got to be at it every week, and we've seen this week if you're not at it how you'll get punished. Blackburn are a good side, and I can't get my head around really why people keep saying it's Blackburn at home. Like, I don't personally buy that or have that. For me, that's a tough game, and that's how it's got to be. But as a team, can you say that we were not up for it or whatever? No, the preparation, the week building up to it was exactly the same. So, look, I think players can have bad games and things like that. No matter what level you're at, you can have a bad game. But I think first and foremost, the basic things. If we go back to what do we think was different, I think it was the basic things: the defending, the intensity, and but ultimately, when we went down to 10 men, not being resolute enough to withstand it.
Is there any different kind of emphasis mindset-wise, just because it's the cup and it's a bit different and it's not the week in, week out of the league?
I'd probably say, if you look at the last cup game, that the team changed a bit and what have you, and yeah, it might seem a bit different, but after last weekend I'd say no, because with how bad last weekend was, I think this game becomes really important now, and it's a case of, like I said to you before, I think all the spots are up for grabs and people will be trying to make sure that for the next league game that they're starting.
Does it feel as though this group still has something to prove again then, not just the idea that it one day might be consistent and can put together the type of run that gets into the playoffs, but that it can come back from a performance like Blackburn?
I think it's just coming back from a loss, isn't it? You know, we've gone through a period now where we haven't had many wins, but I think every team in the division will do that at some point. For me, it's like I said before, it's very well come out and say, oh, we're in a position where we can go and build it. It'll only matter if we actually go and do that. So hopefully we can do that. All that I'll say is that we are in a position where we still have got a chance, because every team has been a bit up and down. So like I said before, it's up to us to go and take that chance. And I don't think we're any different from anybody else. We can't think that we've got a divine right to get in the playoffs. We're only as good as we have been, and last couple of seasons we haven't been good enough to get in the playoffs, so we've got to go and prove that we are. And I think as a player, no matter how well you've done, you've always got something to prove, haven't you? Because people only remember what you did last week.